Started here again. Will Power and Takuma Sato will be up as soon as practice wraps up. But he wrapped up early, so he's up here early. Josef Newgarden driving the number 2 Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Team Penske Chevrolet. As noted, the two-time Indy 500 champion and reigning champion. Third quick overall, eighth quick, no toe. Joseph, you got your stuff done early and can watch this practice end, I guess, today, huh?
I was watching, and then I got called over
Oh,
here.
sorry about that. It happens.
I'm missing the last 10 minutes, but I've been watching. I see
Oh, you
this
did have
one.
a
This
screen.
guy's going right
You
here.
get it. Yeah, I get a screen.
I had my commentary though, ripping on the bus, which was good. Yeah, I was just watching like everybody else. Been up and down with the weather, but for the most part, we've had really good running. Even yesterday where some rain interrupted the beginning, we still got a lot of track time, and we got a lot of track time today. So yeah, no complaints so far. I think we'll get good sunny days for the rest of the week.
Very clearly, very quick yesterday. Again, very quick today. Is that bode well for this coming weekend and maybe on the ranks?
Yeah, I think it's showing good signs to begin. It's a long process. You can have the quickest car in the field, and that doesn't mean you're going to win the race. So, I think it takes a lot of ingredients clearly to win at this place. I think we have a few of them that are starting to show themselves in favorable conditions right now. I think the car's in a really good place. We just got to continue to go through the motions. Qualifying is going to be its own thing. We're going to find out exactly where everybody's at as we get to Friday, and hopefully we'll be in a good spot there. And then the race will be a whole other animal, and we'll figure that out next weekend.
Couple roving mics. You got a question? Raise your hand. We'll start here with Jenna. Go ahead, Jenna.
Joseph, Chevy seems fast and maybe a little bit of speed that they haven't shown yet through 5 races. Do you feel that way as well?
I think we're definitely quick. Honda's a tough competitor, and this is racing. It goes up and down, and so you can never be too confident when you're going into something. But I said this earlier in the week. I've had every single one of my IndyCar victories has been Chevrolet powered, all 31 of them. So I always feel, like I have a shot when I go into the race, and certainly with Team Penske, the conjunction of those two, I always feel like I have an opportunity to win every single weekend. Where the ultimate performance is going to lie is going to be Saturday and Sunday this weekend, and then Sunday the weekend after. We've been here many times where we thought we were pretty quick going into the weekend, and then we were nowhere. So I don't ever get ahead. I've learned to never get ahead of myself here, but I think Chevrolet has done a good job. We were in a great place last year. They definitely got to make a step, because we know Honda was probably going to make a step, and I think we've tried to, and so far it looks good this week. It's gonna be a matter of how does it progress into the weekend is what we're gonna need to look for.
My second question comes from Twitter.
Twitter?
Yeah. So it's
Or X.
it's
Yeah,
X.
yeah.
So it's a high level
Is it from
question.
Gronk? Is it an AI question?
No,
Okay.
it's a real person.
Okay.
They said, obviously Kanan's having some trouble getting out there to do his refresher course. They said if you polled all the drivers, would any of the drivers have an issue with Kanan not getting the refresher course?
It is. I saw this. Is he running?
It's a backup plan for the 7.
Okay, in case they need him for Larson.
Correct.
Yeah. So what would he like? Would he jump into for the race?
The
It would be
program.
Yeah, not necessarily to qualify the car.
Correct.
Yeah. I'm a big fan. It's hard to answer these questions. I love the traditions of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I would want to be very respectful of them. There's some things clearly that should stay traditions. The refresher thing, I'm not as positive on. I was actually just talking to another driver about it this morning. Someone like Tony Kanaan doesn't need a refresher. It's up to the team. If the team wants to put Tony Kanaan in the car, then put him in the car. If he wrecks the car, then that was the team's decision to do that. And I think when it's, big time auto racing, there should be some oversight. It's not necessarily, hey, just let the teams do whatever they want. But I think there's some parameters that could be put in place where a guy like Tony Kanaan, who clearly could jump in a car no problem tomorrow, should probably be allowed to do that. I certainly have no issue with it. So there might be some room for improvement there in the future, in my opinion. But with staying respectful to the traditions of the Speedway, I think you can make something where it satisfies both sides.
Jeff, welcome.
Hi. I'm having trouble understanding what the hybrid's really doing out there for you guys. Like, is it making the car feel more twitchy? Does it just feel like, I mean, can you even tell a difference? I mean, I hear it, okay, it drives differently,
Yeah.
but like how? What is it? What are you feeling out there that's making it drive different?
Okay, so the big reason it's driving differently is not necessarily the hybrid interacting with the car. It is the weight of the hybrid. That's where you're getting all the comments. You know, why is the car different? It is just the weight's up. You're 100, 110 pounds heavier. That's a lot of mass percentage wise that you're adding to this car. Saturating the tires more. You know, it's just moving around. The CG changes a little bit. It raises slightly. Your weight distribution has shifted depending on where teams are putting it. That's what people are trying to figure out right now. You add 100 pounds of this thing, it's almost like adding 200 and 250 pounds to a stock car. You know, if you said, hey guys, we're going to bolt 250 pounds of these stock cars, see what you think. I bet they'd all go, okay, this drives differently. And now we have to counteract it. The hybrid itself and the utilization, I have said this, I do think it's very important here. It's more important at this track than anywhere we've gone because of the drag level. You know, we've not run in a super speedway configuration yet with this hybrid. So it's very, very low drag on the cars. And because of that, they're very power sensitive. So anytime you use something to add power, you feel it, the magnification of it here more than anywhere else. So when when you're using the hybrid on the straightaway, it actually makes a very big difference. So where you're regenerating it and where you're using it to either pass or defend or whatever you're using it for whatever situation, I think there's repercussions for burning it. And there's certainly reward for utilizing it correctly.
Let's go. Yeah, Chris, and then Bruce up here in the front row and the second row after that, Matt. Go ahead, Chris.
Joseph, at the open test the last couple of years, you've been very confident with how your car was handling. Are you at that level of confidence now? And how far along are y'all in progressing, figuring out how to get the setup just right with the hybrid weight in the back?
Yeah, the great thing about the open test the last 2 years is that you get this big head start coming into the month. And, you know, if you're fortunate enough to show up with a pretty good car and get that dialed in the test, then you don't have a lot of work to do by the time we get to this week. I feel like we got on top of the hybrid pretty quickly so far. You know, this is only a certain set of conditions that I've felt. If it gets much hotter, say it's 85, 87, and the track temp shoots through the roof at 120, 125, you know, I think that changes the condition and feel of the car. So I'm still open-minded that we don't have everything checked, but the early signs of where we're at, I think is great. I think we're in a really good window. My car feels fantastic, but that's only one piece of the puzzle.
Bruce, go ahead.
What we're seeing the first couple of days, obviously, is race running. But as far as when you start trimming it out for speed, I got asked this on the radio network earlier. If we could see a repeat of what you guys did here last year by sweeping the front row, do you think you can do it a second year in a row?
I think it's possible, definitely. You know, we're coming from a very good spot last year. So everyone's going to have to make a big jump, which is possible. You know, we know that everyone gets better every year. So we've tried to make a step too, to retain hopefully a speed advantage. It's definitely possible. You know, we can do it. I don't know that that's going to materialize, but you know, we're trying to put our best foot forward and put 3 fast cars on the track. They look quick. You know, we'll see what it brings on Saturday and Sunday.
Do you think Team Penske has crept ahead just a little bit over Chip Ganassi Racing? Because they used to have a pretty good handle on qualifying here.
I think last year for sure. This year is to be determined. It's so hard to give you an absolute. I just don't know until we get to Saturday. You know, when it's for real, we're gonna see where everyone's really at.
Checkered flags out, by the way. Palou, Power, and Joseph, the top 3. Nathan?
Joseph, experienced a lot of great success here the last couple of years. What would a first-time Indy 500 pole mean to you here on Sunday?
I don't know. I've never gone through it. I mean, I'll say this though. The pole, I've talked about Indy as it's this magnification of the team effort more than anywhere else that we go. And I mean that. You know, it's a team sport more than people realize when you watch racing. And Indy is like the greatest example of it. Here more than anywhere else, everything has to go perfectly as a team and a unit. And I think that's on the greatest display in qualifying. So when you qualify well here, it is a reward for the total team. And I think that's why you saw such satisfaction last year amongst the whole team. When you lock out the front row, I mean, I signed more, front row photos than anything else for the team, because that's gratifying for everybody involved. I mean, that's what it shows, the work that's been put in. So, I think from a team standpoint, it's more satisfying. The win is still very much a big team thing, but you get a little bit more personal satisfaction out of it. I guess to answer your question, being on pole here, I would like to see it again for the team. I like to see what happened last year for the team. It was really cool to see that in the garage. And, if we can do it again, I know what it's going to look like.
Got time. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
And as we've gotten this additional weight added to the car, you've made some pretty phenomenal last lap passes the last couple of years. Do you have a feeling yet on what is possible in those late race situations, and if something, really late on the backstretch going into 3 is still possible with the car as it is now?
It seems possible. I mean, in my head, I wanted to try some things out today, and I was like, you probably need to park me. Just let me sit out. I'm getting a little too excited out here. Yeah, I mean, things can work out here and be magical until they're not. I mean, it goes so quickly from fantastic to disaster, and you're just flirting with that line. I think the racing style is going to be very similar this year to what we saw last year. That's what the early indications have shown me. What I felt today, I don't think it will be a dramatic departure to what people saw at the end of the race last year, unless it's crazy hot. If we somehow get like a 90-degree day, super high track temp, that's just going to string the field out. You sort of can't do anything about that. It is what it is. But I think if it's a normal, typical like 75, 80-degree Indiana day, I think you're going to have a similar show to what we had last year with the similar ability to do what you've seen.
Got time for a couple more. Wolfgang, and then second row after that.
Joseph, just a technical question. I suppose the heavy rain in the morning cools the asphalt down. So, well, I'm not sure. I suppose. I mean, the rain is cooling it down, right?
I got to be honest. I didn't understand what you just said.
I said, I suppose. I'm not sure. You know a bit better than I do. The heavy rain in the morning, I suppose, cools the asphalt temperature down.
Yeah.
So, is a different setup required for cold asphalt temperature than for very hot asphalt temperature?
Yes, definitely. The rain contributed to cooling it before we started. So it was a fairly cool, I think it was probably 95 degrees when we started practice today. So it came from a lower level, especially it being whatever it was, 1 o'clock, 1:15 when we rolled out. You run the car very differently. If it's 120 degrees versus 90 or 95, the tires, they react very, very differently. And so that's why I said earlier, in certain conditions, my car feels pretty solid, but don't know what it could be like in extreme conditions. At least extreme on the other end of the temp spectrum. So yeah, you've got to be ready to combat that. Some guys have cars that are really good in the heat. Some people have cars that are really good in the cold, and some have both. Ideally, you'd like to have a car that's flexible because you need different cars in different conditions. I don't care. Yeah, whatever. I mean, I normally like the harder condition. Whatever's typically hot is tougher around this place. So, make it cold, make it hot. But yeah, when it's harder, it's more fun.
How are you doing, Joseph?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Joshua Haran with the Indy Star. Earlier, you said you learned to never get ahead of yourself. With success, and it could be so easy in human nature to build pride or get complacent. But what keeps you humble as you head for 3 straight?
Oh, I mean, I almost think, winning the race was more humbling for me. I mean, I feel just so grateful to have been here. And I kind of got there 24 months ago. I was so enamored with trying to win in this race. It seemed like it was like a needed thing. Like, you have to win here, otherwise your career is a failure. That's what people have always kind of painted it as. So I think I got too consumed by it, and then winning it has just made it very, it's made it very gratifying. And if anything, I just feel more thankful now to have been here. I've told people too, you know, if you focus on the end result and winning the race, you're missing the point that you've already succeeded so much by just being here. You know, you get here, you qualify, you're on the grid. That is, you're already winning in so many ways. So that's what I feel when I show up, and I try and remind myself of that. You know, it doesn't matter that we've won it a couple times. I'm just still thankful to be here, you know, this year and to have another shot. That's what I'm focusing on. It's just the next opportunity which we have in front of us right now.
Thank you.
Thanks.
One quick follow-up from Chris before we'll let you go. Go ahead, Chris.
Joseph, you mentioned earlier about Chevy making gains, Honda making gains. We're talking about engines that have been running since the fall of 2011 in their first on-track tests. How much more is there, do you think, to get out of these engines?
I mean, you'd be surprised. We're still finding stuff. Chevrolet made a great jump last year. You know, I mean, they're still making it happen, and I think we've made another. I think we can make another step this year. So, you know, as much as they've been, you know, you've kind of wrung the thing out about as much as you can. There's still just a little bit left in there, it seems like, and we're searching for it. You know, it's becoming more detail specific. You really have to be fantastic on the details these days, not just as a manufacturer, but as a team. You know, the field is so compressed that if you don't nail the details, you will not win, and you will not find the next step in front of the competition.
All right. Good first couple of days. See you back tomorrow. Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.
Joseph. Will Power and Takuma Sato on their way shortly, guys. Continuing to wrap up this Wednesday at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Joined now by Will Power, driver the number 12, Verizon, Team Penske, Chevrolet. Of course, the 2018 winner of the Indianapolis 500. Currently seventh in points, second quick in that overall session, 13th, I think, in no show the last time I looked. Tell us about your day. What'd you get done?
Yeah, I think we got a reasonable package right now. Seems very difficult to pass when you're back in the pack, but car stays really consistent through the run. So yeah,
Yeah, you're a little out of breath. You
a
came
bit hard coming up them stairs, isn't it?
steps thing. Yeah.
Haven't done stair runs for a while, so no, I'm stronger than I've ever been. So similar.
All right. Well, catch your breath. We got questions for you.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, Emma. Yeah, let's go with Jenna. We'll force them there.
Same question I asked Joseph. Chevy looks pretty good and has not looked so great through the first 5 races. How
Yeah.
are you feeling about what they've brought so far?
Yeah, I actually haven't looked at sort of note. It's so hard to tell right now. We won't know till maybe Friday. We'll start to see some sort of indication, but yeah, really Saturday, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, I felt pretty good in traffic. Yeah, I just sat in a line of, I don't know how, 10 cars or something. You sort of just sat there. Everyone was about the same speed. It was kind of, yeah, hard to tell, which the race is completely different story to qualifying. I mean, almost speed doesn't quite matter. It's more about handling. So, which looks like everyone's car's handling well too. I mean, everyone's doing long stints and the car's fine. It's crazy. But, I think the cool temps help as well. If it gets hard, yeah, it certainly gets more difficult. But if it looks like race day is about this temp, it's going to be just similar last year. Very similar. Yeah, well, it might rain first, but then hopefully dry. It would suck to have to do a Monday or Tuesday. Yeah.
Who wants to go next? Bob and Chris? Nate?
7 of the 8 fastest cars today were either Ganassi or Penske or one of their affiliates. Is this kind of coming down to one of those Ganassi versus Penske weeks?
No, maybe both the bosses are like, you guys better get out there and get a big tow, or we want to be at the top of the times. I don't know. Yeah, usually, yeah, I think, even with tows, it is an indication of car speed for sure, or car handling and speed. But so hard to tell, man. It hasn't been as many full tank pack runs this year as there've been. Maybe it's because of the rain and so on.
Tomorrow looks dry, so I bet there's going to be a ton of that tomorrow. You think?
No.
No.
I think a lot of people switch to quali tomorrow. Yeah, start with a bit of race and then quickly get into quali stuff.
Chris?
With the added weight of the hybrid in the back, how much does this feel like a brand new car, or does it just feel slightly different than last year?
Feels very similar. Very similar. I mean, honestly, the biggest changes are the changes you actually do suspension wise to, make the car better or worse. So, yeah. Honestly, in race it's very similar.
So your level of comfort now compared to what it was at this time last year, how would you gauge that?
Mine is a lot more. Yeah. I've actually found a pretty good setup.
Why is that? I mean, you guys obviously had a fast car last year. Why are you feeling a lot more comfortable at this point already than last year?
Yeah, I mean, I had a fast car in qualifying, definitely not in the race. So I just went backwards the whole race on any restart. So it feels a lot better. It is quite a different setup, quite different philosophy. So, it's what sort of direction we needed to go.
When we're talking Wednesday after second practice, we've had a little bit of delays. In your experience, confident, a week and a half before the race, does that typically still follow through and get you into feeling confident on race day, or how much can things change from now until Sunday when we're rolling out on May 25th for the race?
Yeah. Hard to say, man. Like, you just have one session, it just tips over a bit and you start getting a bit uncomfortable. But yeah, I think you got to be on top of your tools. I think once you got your roundabout philosophy, you just sort of rubbing on it, just minor changes. So that should keep you in your window if you know what you're doing.
Let's take one or two off Zoom real quick. Jack Binion from the race. Hi, Jack.
Hey Dave, hi Will. I guess you were talking a little bit about the people you were running with, and felt like you were maybe stuck in line a little bit. But were there any cars in particular you felt were really strong?
Who look good out there, in your opinion?
I think my two teammates look really good. Palou looked good there while he was running, trying to get a big toe lap, I suppose. Maybe it was on light fuel. Yeah, I mean, Rosenquist, I sat in a line, man. Everyone looked about the same. Like no one was really passing. Some cars able to run closer. So yeah, it's difficult to tell. Very hard to tell.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jack. One more, Dan Jones, Diebound Motorsports. Hey, Dan.
Hi, Dave. Hi, Will. You've got a gap of 120 points to Alex Palou in the point standings, which is obviously quite a big deficit already. So do you feel your season rides even more on the 500 now, considering the points gap you do have?
You most certainly have to start beating Alex. I mean, yeah, I haven't beaten him once this year, so you'd like to start slowly chipping away at that. It's funny how quickly things can turn around. It'd be nice if it was double points and he had a bad day. No joke. That would be crazy if that was the case, that it switched around like that. But yeah, I mean, two bad races for him and two good for me, and you start getting back within a race worth of points. There's a lot of guys very close from second all the way back to where I am, I suppose, or eighth. Yeah.
And I remember last year you sort of came into qualifying week having such confidence that Penske would lock out the front row. So do you sort of have a similar confidence going into this year, or do you think you will have more competition?
I think it'll be closer. Yeah. For a number of reasons, not just people caught up. It's probably a bit of a different. It looks like it's windy. It's going to be more difficult because of the weight. I think that's more pronounced in qualifying trim when you're on lighter downforce. So, yeah, I can see it being a little less about the speed of the car, a bit more about the handling.
Cool. Thanks, Will. Best of luck for the rest of the week. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Dan. Forecast is for less rain, so we'll see what happens tomorrow. Thanks for coming up, Will.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck tomorrow. Again, still waiting for Takuma Sato. Should be up here shortly. And wrapping up this afternoon, now joined by Takuma Sato, driver the number 75 Amada Honda for Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing, two-time Indy champion, finished 14th last year, 15th quick overall in that practice session. How would you describe your first couple days so far in practice?
Always nice to be back in IMS, of course, needless to say. Particularly, we had a moment at open test that team had phenomenal work, actually incredible work to compress 2 weeks over the rebuilding the car rather than usually taking 2 months. So very impressive, and a big thank you to the team owners and 75 crews and the entire Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing team to made it in time. It's amazing. So the last 2 days, obviously started from shook down the car, brand new car. Everything is tried to be fine and in terms of system check, but we actually having experience with a small technical issue dragging on until really this afternoon. So we weren't on a fully operation in terms of the car tools. And finally, on the last new tire, I was able to get the taste of this year's hybrid, and let's put it this way, did all the stint with a full fuel run. So no, it was a positive to take in a couple of things. We were nowhere near with the one of the top crews, but I believe we can work on to that and then try to get to catch them up.
Thanks for coming up. Got some questions for you, and time permitting, a few off Zoom as well. We'll go Jenna and then Chris and then Wolfgang.
Hi, Takuma. Is it difficult to come in, even though you're so good here and you know this place so well, is it difficult to come in without having raced any other races this year?
Yeah, I think let's put it this way, it's not easy. I think it's always difficult, regardless. You are driving this car every 2 weeks, but still this place is you, and to squeezing out for the 99.9% is always difficult or challenging, shall we say. But to me, to get out, out of the car over 11 months, close to 12 months, jump into the car, go to 230 miles per hour, is you feel speed for sure. But I think same as the rookie orientation, but the refresher program actually helped me a lot. So just get through the speed, extra 2 sets of tire, make more a little bit confident or comfortable to the environment to get up to the speed. And then at least we have 4 or 5 days before the qualify, depending on the weather, of course. But that's compared to the usual weekend, let's say Friday, Saturday, 2 practice sessions, straight to go to qualify. If you're out of the car 11 months, you have no chance. But here, I think you can gradually catch up. So having said that, never easy, but I think there is a good time to catch up.
What have you been doing for 11
yeah,
months?
I mean, I wasn't able to competing myself, but primarily looking after young drivers for Honda Young Driver Development Program. I am a part of the HLC now, so which apply to not just local in Japan, but also in Europe and the States as well. So imagine I was just a physical flying all over the place. I was actually busier than I was participating 70 races in IndyCar, but. No, I found a new place, a new job, which I could happily say I'm enjoying to looking after young drivers. Still, I have ultimate challenge here in May. At least I keep going. That's to make me happy.
Chris?
Takuma, the big hit that you had at the open test, I know it's a brand new chassis, they've posted about it on social media and all, but how much of the older car were they able to save and put onto the newer car, or is the whole thing, everything brand new?
Pretty much the whole thing. You could argue right-hand side of that old, I don't want to say old, but extra 75 car was actually unhit. So you could use some of the parts, but bear in mind, the chassis recorded 94 Gs, and my body become a 3.5 tons in millisec. So imagine it's the whole thing is corrupt, basically. I had broken seat, I have everything broken, but big thank you to the IndyCars and safety teams and Dorala that saved me. I'm in one piece, and I'm happy to driving here again. So all in all, I think technically there's let's say maybe 10% of the path been slide to the brand new, but pretty much everything was a new car.
So a lot of teams will spend months and months and months getting all the body fit right and everything like that. How close were they able to make it in just 2 weeks' time to get all the body fit and all the seams to be the way it should be?
It's incredible work. I think you picked a number. I don't know. I never say 100%, but I think it's pretty sure 99% they caught them up, which is incredible. I think this year's over the course of winter, yes, apply to all the team, but I think Rahul Letterman running and racing team improved a lot. I think engineering review every single bits of what do we say, area that we can improve, and the experience to have a building 4 cars over the winter, which definitely helping to rebuild another one, because now we have so many experience and to ramping up rapidly to correct the new chassis from Dallara very next day, and then walking onto the car from early morning to the midnight. So actually, big thank you to all the boys, and they have 0 less day since then. So big hat off. And the car's car's beautifully rebuilt, a completely new chassis with a beautiful car. So it's good.
Wolfgang.
Yeah, sorry, I have 3 this time. 3 questions. Very short one. Takuma, you said it's not easy to come in here just 1 time a year, not as a full driver. Are you keeping yourself in shape back in Japan with simulator testing or racing?
Honestly, no. I think I want to give all the young drivers to get opportunity anytime in the wheel, in a car. Track time is very important for young drivers. Nowadays, a lot of restriction by the rule. So the driver has to take on the simulator stuff on the computer. So track time is everything, really. So I just wanted to give them even testing. So I don't really need to test the Super Formula or GT or anything. But on the hindsight, yes, how we keeping a sharp, it is a question, and actually quite challenging. But as I said, at least the Indy 500 schedule gave us the driver a couple of days to catch up. I think for me, I have to take account that's enough.
And coming here just for the 500, and for the rest of the year, you're not driving anymore, as you said earlier. You're not missing a cockpit, a race car?
Well, I do miss the part, of course. I do miss the smells. I do miss the people's and attentions and butterfly in your stomach, and get nervous, get unbelievable satisfaction every single weekend when we pull the great wins, things like that. But listen, I had over 20, I don't know, I have to count 28 years of a professional race career, and happily say that done quite a lot of achievement, and still very one of the fortunate driver to keep going at this stage in highest level with the environment I want to. I just don't want to only participating in 500. I want to challenge for the winning, and that's why the team and myself have a very close view. And a lot of people with familiar faces, old faces, like let's say my engineer Eddie Jordan, supposed to be retiring 4 years ago, 5 years ago. They still keep coming back, and because I tied his engineering for my contract, say. So I think it's a lot of people. How can I say, being motivated with this program, really fortunate I am. And of course, needless to say, 3 owners, the Bobby Rahal, Mike Lanigan, David Letterman, and they gave me a fantastic opportunity. So as long as I have a great people surrounded, have got to believe myself that I can still challenge for the top level, I want to continue.
Okay, and the last one, what are options to set up your own team?
Sorry, what setup?
I said my last question, is this an option maybe in the long term or short term future to set up your own team?
Oh, I see. Well, if you sponsor me, I could happily do that. Nowadays, everything is very expensive, so I don't think I can do the one single click to become ownership. But we'll see. I think as far as I can see it, I think there is opportunity. Anything is possible in the world. So, but for the most that I want to continue to my driving and try to achieve the highest possible result for entire team.
While you're here, let's take one overseas. Kaiichi from Gaora Sports. Go ahead with Takuma Sato.
Thank you, David-san. Please let me ask a question in Japanese.たくまさんお疲れ様
はい
で、す。
お疲れ様です。
2日間ちょっと雨でだいぶ影響を受けましたが、オープンテストの続きのレベルにはどれぐらいのレベルで到達近づいている感じでしょうか。
そうですね。正直言って、先ほどもちょっとインタビューで話したんですけども、ちょっと技術的な問題を抱えてしまっていて、シェイクダウンの時から、ちょっとそこがスーッと引っかかっていて、本当はすぐに治るだろうと思って、メカニックたちも一生懸命やってくれたんですけども、結局今の、最後のですね、午後のランでようやく、一つの形になったという形なので、そうですね、雨の影響だけじゃなくて、車自体もちょっとここまで1日半ぐらいかけて、シェイクダウンからその本来の姿に戻ったのかなと思います。そして、そのスピード自体もですね、本当はもう少し当然のことながら上の方にいたいんですけども、やはり段階を踏んでいかないと、非常にそのコンペティションレベルが高いので、自分たちがやらなきゃいけないプログラムをですね、一つずつこなしながら、最終的に形になればいいかなというふうに思ってます。
And the last question. 今日のタイムシートだと、チームの4台が似たようなレベルに速度上がってきてますが、今年エンジニアリング体制どういうところが強化されたというか、大きく変わったんでしょうか。
昨年、一つ自分たちとしてはその予選で、速さを見せることができたので、一つはその、自分が走った予選での特に、Day1 のセカンドアテンプトですかね。非常に暑い中で、スピードを出した、あれが、一つのベースのセッティングになってるんですが、そこから当然のことながら派生して、大きくシーズン中に、開発が進んだところと、当然のことながらそのハイブリッドシステムが乗って、重量配分も変わってますし、そういうところの味付けをですね、だいぶ変えていってるんですが、骨格になるベースのセットが、比較的スピードというところには自信を持っているので、それをベースにレースカーのセッティングをしてきていると。で、4台の、コミュニケーションはですね、これまで自分が見てきた中では、チームの中で一番いいと思っているので、非常にそのビルドクオリティも含めて、4台のその、差といいますか、個体差というのはもう本当にミニマムなんじゃないかと。それが結果的には、今日のスピードも非常に似通ったり、オープンテストでもですね、非常に調子のいいスピードを出せたりというところにつながっているのかなと思います。
わかりました。ありがとうございます。じゃあ、金曜日に現地に伺います。よろしくお願いします。
はい、お待ちしております。
Thank you, Dave.
Arigato. Of course, arigato. Thanks for coming up. Have a great day tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate
Thank you.
it. Takuma Sato.